Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case with a very important video today. Kaden Pressy has broken his silence in recent time and has actually spoken out publicly within one of the live premiere chats on my channel, which wasn't, to be expected. Today, I'll be presenting to you what Kaden had to say in response to some people's questions and a very interesting, eye-opening viewpoint in regards to when Noah supposedly walked off and how long it could have been for, and then working out until maybe action was taken or when people started getting worried, tying it in with those Snapchat post timestamps, what we've heard of in recent time. We are doing a map analysis today with the markers, the bullet points from the different arguments and tension that took place at the party, and then how it transpired to Noah distancing himself physically from the area. Don't go anywhere today. Be sure to stick around for that full context, and welcome to anyone that's watching the live premiere. Feel free to engage with the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen. Live chat replay as well. You can always go back to it, such as the comments by Kaden Pressy from the video I did last night. If you are interested in my recent coverage and you've missed out on any videos, don't worry. Top right corner of the screen where the eye symbol is, click up there. You'll find a full playlist of all the videos that I've done and some loose ones, including last night's, to catch up on, which was very important, very deep. In terms of the performance of the video, extremely underwhelming, I'll be honest with you. I was hoping more people would see it because it is very important. I cover almost every angle and possibility from both sides, to murder, foul play, to accidental, in regards to the shorts. More specifically, the white ones, with a demonstration. You want to see video footage of the highway tampering with the evidence? Well, it's not publicly viewable, but do you want a demonstration of it, which could be somewhat accurate? Well, that's exactly what I did. So be sure to catch up on the video from last night, available where the eye symbol is up there. With that being said, for the video today, we're getting really hands-on once again and hearing it to an extent from the horse's mouth. It just goes to show, and it was proven, predicted once again, that you never know at any point of time, anyone and everyone can be watching, especially in the background, lurking. I know from time to time we get the Swedish lurker. Shout out to her. I can't remember the person's name, but they've got glasses. Good individual. But with that aside, if you do want to drop a comment down below after watching this video to let me know your thoughts, additional points of view, any questions you may have, I can respond back to them later. Drop a comment down below under the video. And if you want to support this channel in a practical and anonymous way, there are ways to do so. Down below in the comments, there'll be a pinned message by me with additional links, for example, PayPal. And credit to those that have done so in recent time. Very positive to see. The order of how we'll do things today, I'm going to present to you immediately the comments by Kaden Pressy and the questions along the way, and just interpret it all to get a better understanding. Then we're going to compare or contrast with the Snapchat post by Jasmine Milan and even what Jack Newton had to say, and then we go on to the maps. So, are you ready? Let's begin. Well, here we are with one of the first moments where Kaden Pressy made his appearance. I know some people could argue, is it really the real Kaden Pressy? Well, from the looks of the chat and reaction, everybody or most believed it was. And when I reached out to some people here and there, they believed it is Kaden as well. And in terms of what's said as well by this Kaden, it seems consistent with what he would normally say, and being against Brooke and Brooke being against Kaden, that situation and dynamic, that seems normal as well. But I'm just going to read everything that's on screen in the correct order. Tim Daniel, big shout out to Tim Daniel, a very patient individual and quite understanding as well when it comes to my videos, because I've not really come across Tim much, but I'd say 99.9% of the time it's been positive. You might wonder why I don't say 100. That's only because I'm trying to be fair and balanced. God. Anyway, Tim says, imagine being the corrupt cop who pulled off the shorts, understanding evidence, and still thinking it's a good idea to hand that to Noah's brother. How does that make sense? So in a situation, if you were the corrupt cop, well, at least when it comes to Noah's brother Kaden Pressy, hasn't it been worded that it was Jack Newton that handed them over to Dalen? And then Dalen supposedly washed them, but made that mistake, wasn't aware at the time that if they weren't washed, would they still have any DNA on or not? Or not that significant, because if they were handed over, then obviously they weren't that important to be withheld by police and stuff. Who knows? But Kaden Pressy, and I'll try and zoom in just so you can see for a second or so. That's Kaden Pressy's face smiling, right? Zoom out there. And he says, "I know what I saw." And this is in regards to the highway and coming across Noah's body, because the theme of my video that I did last night was all to do with the shorts. And sometimes some videos and themes can summon people out of nowhere, especially if they've got a point to share. They feel very passionate about a particular thing. Andrea says, "Right, Tim, doesn't make sense. Only makes sense if the black shorts weren't given back to the family." Tim says to Mark, "Would you give the shorts to the brother of the guy you curled?" Yeah, I can kind of understand that in that sense. If we're referring to Jack Newton being labelled, not with guarantee, not with pure evidence, but just labelled in a theory as a murderer, would you return items back? Well, would it appear normal if you did? Would you stand out? Would it be questionable? If they didn't know you were the murderer at the time, but you were returning stuff back as a concerned friend or in a caring way. You know, sometimes bad people will try and do good things for a bad event that they were behind to appear more normal. Like if a person went missing and you know where that missing person is because you got rid of them, buried them in the ground, you could start actively helping and trying to find the person without literally finding them, just so you blend in. If you were like, "I'm not helping, I'm not searching, why should I?" and you're somewhat of a friend to that person, you're going to stand out more and they'll be questioning. That's just as a small little counterpoint there. And that's in regards to other cases. To be honest, the Dylan Rounds one, supposedly Brenner was searching for Dylan, yet Brenner was the murderer. Well, if it's on the true basis that he was searching about, that might have been done as a means to try and blend in without appearing too odd. Okay, what else do we have? Mark, is that why they washed the body down and left Noah naked, so there's no DNA? But do we know that Noah's body was washed down? We've heard a reference of a shower, and Noah was still alive in that footage, from how it's been described and what some witnesses have said who have watched it, who are from, such as online on Facebook, reaching out that way. Andrea, to Magic Mike, there is no proof that black shorts were left in the bathroom, as you say. Brooke Carter, makes zero sense, seeing a showdown, sure. Annoyed, Brooke, no it doesn't, it mean dirt, rips, tears, etc. Right. It does get a little bit more vocal later on, in case you're wondering. Kaden Pressy, a bit further up, says Noah wasn't naked until someone removed his shorts after I left. By the time Tyler Hardy, for example, arrived without knowing what to expect and then pulling over and seeing Noah naked, something must have happened in between that period of when Kaden left, absent from the area, some people doing stuff, and then Tyler coming along feeling like he's the first one there or one of the first individuals present. Interesting. Skippy. So I, very confused about Noah's belongings being given out to different people who had custody of his things. Robbie Taylor. Mark, how is it character assassination? Brooke. Now, here we go. Brooke Carter responds to Kaden Pressy. Kaden, honey, I wouldn't start that. Oh, I wouldn't start stating Noah wasn't naked until someone removed his shorts. Right. So I guess Brooke indirectly saying, don't be starting that. There is supposedly no evidence of it taking place or removal of shorts or video footage of that. On the public surface level, I've not seen any video footage of it. But we've heard a range of different people make reference to it existing out there. Depends what side you're on. Maybe we do a poll at this time. Tim Daniel responds to Kaden, "You saw 2 different shoes." Andrea, "There is no reason to remove shorts whilst touching his body, leaving more DNA." That's a fair point, Andrea. But it depends who's removing the shorts and what they're wearing at the time themselves. If it's party goers, as in the theory, concept of disposing of Noah's body, would party goers be clever enough or in the mind and have access to gloves, to make sure there's no prints left behind? I just don't think they would be thinking that far ahead. Could be a little bit reckless. It's okay. People saying that maybe Noah's body was washed down of DNA and then he was disposed of after. Yeah, you can wash somebody down in the moment, but then later when you pick that body back up, you're putting your fingerprints back onto that body, incriminating yourself once again. So did any party goers, if they were involved in foul play, did anyone wear gloves? It would make more sense, or at least be more likely, that if there is footage of tampering with evidence at the highway, a police guy, volunteer firefighters, whoever, authority, with some kind of equipment with them, possible uniform, any of them wearing gloves, because when it comes to like a crime scene or an investigation, they may wear gloves at times so they can pick items up, do it carefully without leaving their own traces of DNA on the stuff. There's been exceptions in the past, maybe Idaho 4, how police handled the scene, how some evidence was lost or contaminated, and in a way indirectly the Dylan Brown's case as well, with the murderer contaminating stuff and police allowing it to happen. Noah Presgrove case, to a slight degree, Jack Newton picking up the white shorts, with his bare hands, leaving his own DNA upon those white shorts, which could possibly be relevant to the case and Noah's final moments when wearing them, or close to them at the time, and the police just allowing Jack to do that. A couple of factors along the way. But if there is tampering with evidence, black shorts removal, if it was the police guy doing it, was the police officer wearing any gloves? Because if he was, well then you probably wouldn't leave any DNA behind on Noah's body, right? Just a suggestion. Tammy, I bet you, Kaden, annoyed. So how did the white shorts escape being damaged, which includes dirt, rips and tears? At least from the official autopsy report, mentioned no observable damage. Damage does not include skid marks, stains, discoloration, dirt, dust. You could still have those type of marks upon the clothing, but it's not classified as damage, is it? Unless they're referred to a stain as damaged clothing. I guess it depends. In terms of rips and tears in tatters, holes, no mention of that with the white shorts. But how clean were they? Besides them not being not damaged compared to the black ones. Were they clean, pure white, or a bit dirty, discoloured? That'd be interesting to know. Mark to Robbie, because they say Noah is such a bad drunk. Why would they invite him back if that was the case? If that was the case for what? Well, that must be a part of a conversation I've not really kept up with. Tim Daniel to Kaden, why would they give the shorts to Dalen? Give them back to the family as a form of closure, as a form of blending in, possibly. Just like the suggestion, what I mentioned earlier on. Right, this is where it starts kicking off a little bit more, and we'll zoom in for this one. And we'll just acknowledge it in the correct order. Kaden Pressy responds to Brooke Bounds-Carter, saying, "You don't want the truth to come out, ma'am. That's why you're trying to silence me by saying I wouldn't start there, honey. I ain't ya honey or your friend. Have a blessed day, ma'am." Okay. So we're getting a bit of a feedback response by Kaden. The reason why it's interesting this is because when you look back to that first time call made, which we saw in recent time between Kaden and, Officer Anthony. Can't remember his last name. exactly. At the time, Kaden mentioned to Anthony that he will only talk to those that need to know, not those that want to know. So prioritising people assigned within the case, authority, police, to help make progress in the case. That wouldn't be done with the general public. That would be more so maybe just gossip, and it's not necessary. Kaden does not want to entertain the general public. But obviously, things have changed since. Kaden getting more of a voice now and trying to defend himself more, even if he is backed into a corner at times and possibly attacked or threatened, or when Kaden Pressy, maybe not to him, but from the outside perspective looking in, at times Kaden in the middle of it all, and different negative influences or dark forces all about. To what extent, to whom exactly, unknown of, but I'm just throwing it out there as a possibility. A lot of factors to consider. It was mentioned that Kaden Pressy, I think it's directly from the events with Noah Presgrove, unless there was some other stuff in between, that Kaden had to have some kind of therapy or had done over time because it's taken a toll on the body and the mind, which is understandable. But then, depending how you look at it, would that apply to Carter Combs, Avery Combs, Logan, or some other people out there who've been on the receiving end of attacks in other ways, supposedly being threatened and damaged to property, feeling unsafe? Things can kind of get out of hand at times, I get that. In the Dylan Rounds case, it definitely did. Those who may have been suspicious, considered suspicious, and then others speaking the truth, but as a lone individual from all different sides, getting attacked at and from the general public vigilantes going a bit too far and causing more harm within the case and people of interest. Is the same happening here within the Noah Presgrove one? Well, she might get certain party goers or family members, friends of party goers, who's causing the most harm to the different people of interest, one another at each other's throats, or some of the general public / vigilantes think that they're doing good, but they're causing more harm, but they're not aware of it at the time. Which way round would you look at it? But is there anything to interpret from Kaden Pressy's point of view here? You don't want the truth to come out. Why wouldn't Brooke want the truth to come out? What, because it would compromise her as well, or people that she knows of? Is it one of those things like a chain reaction from whoever and whatever side? Those that are directly responsible and others that are somewhat responsible. And then the third party people that know all about it but are keeping quiet or not saying the full story. But if one goes down, they all go down. Is that what Kaden is possibly implying here? That's why you're trying to silence me. How is Brooke Bounds Carter silencing Kaden Pressy within this chat? By undermining him or using certain patronising words from how some people could interpret it? Or is Kaden Pressy referring to things that have happened in the background, in the past, over time? Where, I remember others speaking on behalf of Kaden, even though it's not from the horse's mouth, where they said Kaden Pressy has received death threats, he's been attacked over 300 times, all kinds of dark stuff going on online, he's been gaslighted as well from Brooke to Sarah Long to Stevie Howard, etc. That's just from my memory of how things have gone about over time. See, Kaden Pressy in the past, with what he had to say, he did stand out compared to most partygoers and how other stories have been told as for the timelines. Whilst, yes, standing out bold, at the time it was considered a positive, a different side to the story, and trying to learn about it, and Kaden Pressy standing tall, standing strong, despite what people may have said about him and how he may have been attacked at times. However, I'd be honest, things got a little bit bumpy once that private leaked interview was released public. That was problematic because that timeline doesn't quite match up with Kaden's partner in true crime timeline. And because of that and the discrepancies, I don't know, it just creates a bit of questioning here and there. It's unfortunate. but it wouldn't just be Kaden, would it? It would be Jack. It could be any other party goer that may have done an interview here or there, and it may have changed along the way. It's just that Kaden has put himself out there more, which is a positive, so more people can learn. But the more you put yourself out there, the more of a marked figure you can become in some ways. Or the more you talk, the more chances that you might just slip up at one point, make one little mistake, but then for other people, in their mindsets, it could tarnish how they view their outlook towards a said individual like Kaden Pressy. But still, Kaden trying to keep things somewhat civil by saying, have a nice day. And then we've got Beauty Guru Mo, I believe. Just want to say, as for the profile picture with Beauty, rather good. So if I'm correct in saying, is that, I don't know as for the name of the specific individual, but it's like one of the brides or bridesmaids from Resident Evil. Is it Resident Evil, The Village? And then you've got that 6-7 foot tall lady villain with that big oversized hat. And then the 3 bridesmaids like swarms and they chase you about inside that manor house. I've not played the game. I don't really play, well, I just don't play Resident Evil, but it just reminds me of it because I've seen gameplay of it online. So in terms of that, I think that being what do you call it? I'm not an expert. The makeup aspect of it looks very realistic, as if it's from the game itself within the game. So yeah, wow. Beauty says, in response to some person, my own person, I am 6 years older than Noah, but I know his brother. Oh wow, so you know Kaden Pressy. And so many other people who loved Noah. So sad for all them. Oh yeah, for them all. So ready for this to be solved. You know, moments like this can be interesting. When you get people of interest, witnesses that may pop in to leave a comment, that's obviously good. And then other individuals on the sideline that may somehow know Noah or know those that are close to Noah by blood or friendship, and you can learn different aspects and sides to people too. I remember in the past, indirectly, elsewhere on a different platform, person reached out to me and said, I know Noah, or I'm very close to certain family members, and we appreciate your coverage, Raf, to that extent. That's obviously good. I remember in the Dylan Rounds case, whilst everybody else was getting told off, and there was all kinds of chaos, whilst I was keeping to myself doing my own videos, indirectly, on a few occasions, those connected to the family members reached out and said, on behalf of them and us, you're doing really well, keep on going. And that, you know why that was like a big turning point for anyone wondering about balance and perspective, is that indirectly, on behalf of others, representatives, you had the family or certain family members thanking me for the coverage that I've done on the case, and yet some of the videos that I did were questioning the family members, but that was only done out of keeping it balanced. I questioned other people and then I questioned them. I wasn't expecting anything, in terms of positivity or, any thanks or anything like that, because, if you're going to question someone, they might feel insulted by it, and that's understandable. But no, they understood. And ever since, it's just kept that way. So, it shows that they have reasoning ability as well. Anyway, focusing back, Brooke Carter says to Robbie, exactly, they loved Noah and still mourn him to this day. And we saw that to an extent, I believe, was it Jasmine Milan, that tattoo on her wrist or arm, acknowledging Noah Presgrove and that dove or the wings. Remember that? Annoyed says, no, Brooke, you keep telling yourself that, pumpkin. Amanda, thank you, Kaden. Tim Daniel, Noah chose the same friends Kaden did. His friends did not murder him. Kaden is here. Do you think your friends murdered Noah? See, this is the thing. The friendship situation is kind of interesting. based off the surface level publicly, not what goes on in the background privately. You could interpret it and argue and say Kaden Pressy has shown more care and concern towards Noah as a friend than Jack Newton, the best friend to Noah. And I'm only saying that based off observations made online publicly in terms of openness, activity levels, responses, and trying to help along the way. I'm not saying that Jack has done jack all. No, he's probably done and helped as well. Hopefully humans don't get triggered by that. I'm only giving my perspective. I'm sure Jack in the background has done stuff as well and said things in a positive way, or to some extent, responding back to questions early on and then Justin Roy relaying them on afterwards, where we saw those different perspectives. Yeah. But, you know, in terms of people who may love or like Noah, to what extent and what depth? Because wasn't it interpreted, or didn't we hear it mentioned a few times online, that some partygoers didn't really know who Noah Presgrove was or never seen him before up until when going to the party house? I mean, Kaden Pressy, if I can remember from an alternative interview, Kaden Pressy said, I didn't know who Avery, Carter, maybe Logan, some of the girls, who they were. I didn't know them. First time seeing them when I came to that party, the one Noah attended. And as we heard in the Partners in True Crime interview, that they were long-time friends way back in the past, meeting, hanging up in town with everyone. Not much to do but hanging out in the car parks, drinking, getting drunk, meeting that way, learning one another. And then Kaden Pressy says in another interview that, when I went to the party house, it was the first time I saw Avery, Carter and some of the girls. Ow. That's what's a bit confusing. And then other people have mentioned about, Carter Combs early on said, I don't know who Noah Presgrove is. Oh, but you were okay being in the same room as in when he had no clothes on and having a shower. So there was a level of comfort factor there, and more likely that you'd be in that situation, put yourself in that situation, help the person in that situation if you knew them and if you were close and somewhat friendly. As we're a complete stranger? So what's really going on here? Who are friends with who knows who, and for how long? Because it seems to switch and change, and we're just assuming, or at least how the case has been talked about and how it's been published online in news articles, that you got a group of friends all hanging out together. But as we learned with time, it wasn't quite simply like that. You had a certain group of friends, long time. Then you had a couple of outsiders that joined a bit later on that may have not been pure long time friends. Would that apply to Mikey Lair? I don't really know, I'll be honest with you. And then you had some other stray individuals tagging along, like Georgia, coming out of nowhere, and the friend Breeley, underage, but welcomed there and allowed to stay because it was safer for them than leaving because they were supposedly drunk already, which doesn't sound too good, to be honest. And then you had the Texas boys, friends to Avery, but strangers to Noah, strangers to Kaden. That's how we learn. And then later learning that, actually, some of these long-time friends didn't really know one another to begin with. Or they've only known each other for a short amount of time, rather than months or years. Let me know your thoughts to that, your reaction. Tammy says, you're right, Kaden. Brooke Carter responds to Kaden, should we start addressing all your lies, darling? And Kaden Pressy responds, my lies, laughing, crying emoji. So, for Brooke to say, should we address all of your lies? Does that mean lies that have not been revealed publicly as of this moment? Or does it mean reiterating the lies from the past? What would Kaden Pressy be lying about? If anybody knows or can give examples, feel free to do so in the live chat or the comment section down below. I mean, are we talking about the timeline discrepancies of this time? No, it was that time. Arriving on Friday? No, it was Saturday. No, it was Sunday. Take in mind, I've done my own map analysis of the comparison of the two timelines, but would they be considered lies or more so mistakes? Because Brooke Carter could refer to Kaden lying about a range of things, but whether it be by Brooke or more so by other people that are friends to Brooke or close in some way, Sarah Long, maybe Stevie Howard, how they interpreted Kaden Pressy in the past with his timeline specifically is that, he's probably made a mistake. He's probably getting mixed up. And whether that could be interpreted as genuine or patronising gaslighting, still, it wasn't referred to as lying from their point of view at the time. It was just more so making a mistake, getting the times mixed up. So if that's not lying, what is in regards to Brooke here? But Kaden kind of like laughing it off and just a bit up here responding says, there's no reason to argue over something when I know the truth of what I saw. This is about Noah, not me or you or anyone else. Stay humble or karma will bite your ass. Very interesting. We've heard the reference about karma biting people's asses over time. We've had the phase of JJ bump ass, and now we've gone through the transitional phase of karma biting ass. Now, you know why there's a bit of conflict there? And I think we need to really highlight it. You know, when we talk about contradictions or discrepancies, well, how can karma bite you in the ass when there's a lot of people laughing their asses off? If you laugh your ass off, there is nothing left to bite. And that's why you need some reconstructive surgery. Warlike Ref does provide lifts and all kinds of procedures. Anyway, focusing back in on a serious note, what Kaden Pressy says here is interesting. I know the truth of what I saw. And that could well be true, yes. As for Tyler Hardy, he knows the truth of what he saw, supposedly. That could well be true. And that there is a middle factor in between. If at any point that the highway footage, the supposed tampering, could be released publicly, well, that would obviously clear up a lot, wouldn't it? And back Kaden Pressy up as well. Now, Kaden Pressy, I believe, has already seen it when Kathy Bingham showed it to him. And Kaden was describing it, I believe, in the private police interview. So, fair enough, if Kaden has seen it himself, then Kaden would know the before and after effects because he's seen the middle factor, the variable which changed from shorts, clothed, to being unclothed later. So I would get that. But from the public perspective, humans should have the right to remain skeptical if they haven't had the same opportunities as someone like Kaden. I also know that not all material and evidence can be shared public because of legal reasons, and it could harm the case. I get that. But equally, to balance it out, general public should still have the right to be somewhat skeptical, just in case. So you don't get too deep into believing something, and then if it does backfire, it knocks you back or you're lost, you don't know what to do. What else do we have? Robbie Taylor, Skippy, you should ask Kaden that. He was at the party. Magic, if the Texas boys left at 2:30, why are there snaps of them later on? But before we even refer to at what time did the Texas boys truly leave, can we actually even identify or name who the Texas boys were if there were Snapchats of them later? Because we only hear it as Texas boys. First of all, how many Texas boys? Second of all, what are their names? Third of all, what do they look like? Are they easily identifiable in the footage? Because it just sounds very vague, this. And at 2:30, that's pretty early on. But what was it, 3:30 when Noah walked away? And that supposedly some Texas boys would have to still remain at the party in terms of how it's been worded, I think, by Brooke and some others, that Texas boys helped with the party girls in searching about and going out there, I believe, in vehicles. Right, we'll get to that later. Mark replying to Robbie, you have a point. Why would they call 911 if they already know he's dead? What, if they already know he's dead and responsible, why would they even bother calling for help? Well, if that's what you're referring to, or that's at least how I interpret it, then I guess you are edging close to the boundary, but doing so to try and remain as a concerned citizen or friend, so you appear as caring and you won't be questioned as much. Sometimes even if you're the one responsible, you've got to keep close to the crime, keep close to the scene to learn and to appear in place so you're not questioned as much. If you don't care whatsoever and you don't make any attempt to help, then people could start thinking, oh, why? You don't really care because you know? Robbie Taylor. Mark, not what I said. Sharon, Kaden, lots of love. Robbie Taylor, don't twist words. Oh no, we're getting to twisting stuff again. Brenda, had Noah ever been to the party house before that fatal weekend? That is a good question. I believe from what Jan Fiorillo had said, that there was a party that did take place the weekend before it at the same place. Did Noah attend? I think so. But who else? Not too sure. But the party was reported into police. No action taken. Who reported it into police when there's not really anyone living nearby? And why did they report it into police? How does Jan Fiorillo know about that? If there's any context, feel free to list it below. I do have a screenshot of it, the reference, if we need to do a standalone video in the future. What else? Annoyed. Kaden, they will argue with a rock. Don't bother kiddo. Well, arguably, that can be true. You can argue with the rock, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. But what annoyed is referring to here is an actual inanimate object. Brooke Carter says, what about the video you saw with Kathy Bingham? How come your mom won't admit it either? Admit what? Wait, is this what the conflict is? Let me just try and interpret this. Brooke, let me know if I'm right or wrong or on the same wavelength as you. From what I remember in the June private police recorded leaked interview is that Kaden Pressy mentioned that Kathy Bingham had come to the house, shown him personally the video of tampering with evidence of the black shorts being removed. There was a police officer, maybe Bold, volunteer firefighters. There was a Newton family member, which then I think Kaden retracted and said, well, no, I can't be too sure. There was like 4 people. Police guy took the black shorts off, and that was mainly mentioned. Then when it comes to Alicia Lee, Alicia, the mother to Kaden, in a different event, if I'm correct, when Kathy pays a visit to the household, outside patio area, CCTV footage appears to show Kathy showing Alicia a phone with a video upon the screen showing maybe a person moving back and forth and Noah Presgrove's body laying on the ground in sight. And that's what Alicia refers to. Different to what Kaden Pressy saw. Apart the same video, but different areas on the time frame of the video being played. Kathy shows Alicia part of it, or at least we see part of it in the CCTV footage. Kaden Pressy sees the rest of it after or before, or 2 separate videos, because that part is in true crime, part 2 interview with Kaden and Alicia. There's some rough patches, as in what people are calling out towards Alicia or Kaden and Alicia, what they're talking about is different to what people are calling them out about. They're referring to either a different interview or some other video of some sort. Is there a breakdown in communication once again, which then leads to a massive misunderstanding? Who knows? But from what I can remember, Kaden Pressy witnessed the tampering with evidence because Kathy Bingham had the footage, showed it to him personally. I don't know about Alicia Lee to that extent. But after that leaked interview coming out, then you had Kathy Bingham turning on Kaden Pressy, if you remember. That's been documented as well. Magic Mike says, why didn't Noah get a ride from BJ or JR nephews, all the people leaving at 3 a.m? Well, JR means Justin Roy's nephews. Justin Roy had family members down at the party, around 10 people or so. Did they all leave at the same time? I don't know. Because if they did, a lot more opportunities for at least one of them to take Kaden home. But maybe you've got to consider, where do all these different people live? If they live close or in the same direction where Noah needs to be, then I'm sure a lift could possibly be done. If everybody else lives the opposite way, they've got to go in a different direction, well then maybe they can't. It's just worth taking in mind. But who is BJ? BG? Oh, BJ, shit. Why did I say that? I mean BG. I'm getting sidetracked. Why didn't Noah get a ride from BG? Who's that? I don't know. Brylan something? Bob something? Brooks? No. If anyone knows, feel free to list below. I just can't think on the spot. Nah, I just can't. What else do we have there? Skippy, he would know how many Texas boys were there. Annoyed, I would love to hear it straight from Avery and not from you. Matt Lingo, more like Ref, did you see Dylan Brown's sister had a baby last week? No, I didn't, so that's a surprise. Kaden Pressy says, 3 Texas boys. What? 3 Texas boys were at the party still when Noah Presgrove was there? Does that mean those 3 Texas boys were the ones that were in that side-by-side rollover? I wonder. Jack Newton said that side-by-side rollover had about 5 to 6 passengers. Noah being one, 3 Texas boys, and then who's the other 2 or 3 individuals? Mystery ones? Who knows? Amanda, exactly, Dutton. He said the truck driver had his hands on Noah. Tyler said nobody touched him at all. That can be true from Tyler's perspective if Tyler, later on, late to the party, felt he was the first one on scene because he had not seen anyone else before that. Okay. Magic. Kaden, which car was taken, the Camaro or the SUV? R. Dutton. Kaden, you're wise beyond your years. Robbie. Mama Kaden is here and an adult. Why wouldn't people ask him questions? Brooke Carter. Avery's not 1 ounce worried about anything. They are letting LE do their jobs. And Robbie, thank you, Kaden. Mitch, Kaden, I thought you had your phone analysed. Where's that at? Other responses, Kaden, zoom in. Is it consistent? The police didn't want my phone when I offered them to do all of whatever they wanted to do. Why would the police not want Kaden's phone? Because they've got enough evidence? Because they don't need Kaden's? Because they believe he's innocent anyway? Or did the police not want Kaden's evidence because it might prove his innocence, but they don't want him to be innocent because they want to put the blame on him? Let me know your thoughts. A little bottle popping in the background. Brooke Carter, would love to hear about Jason. Good question, Mike. Oh no, who's Jason? Jason Martin or Jason something? Jason Voorhees? Yeah, there's still some names out there which I might not be familiar with. I mean, Kaden Pressy eventually got his phone supposedly analysed and handed into police, and phone data proved that his timestamps were correct from, as we've heard in the interviews, but we have to take people's words for that as the truth. If it could ever be released publicly as hard evidence, that would probably do a lot of good, to be honest. Tim Daniel, we're very sorry you all lost your friend, Kaden. We just have so many questions. You saw a cop pull the shorts off in the video. That's shocking if true. Of course. Dutton says, stop bullying Kaden. Adults, please grow the F up, y'all. What about the time when people tried bullying me in a certain group chat when I was being demanded lots of questions and answers in regards to another individual? And it's like, whoa, why is it a 5-on-1? Calm down. Or that other time when I was doing a simple live stream and there was like 6 people on me questioning and interrogating me. But at least, even at times like that, I try and keep it together with the wording and language. But that's just a separate thing. It's just reminded me, that's all. Rebecca Gagliari says, they're asking questions, and that's what a lot of you are doing. Wow. Real Fact says, oh, Kaden, I don't think anybody's trying to silence you. I think we're trying to get answers from you. So what are the examples that Kaden has been silenced? Do we have any proper examples? I mean, like when I say I've been silenced, or there are attempts to silence me, and people can say, yeah, right, you're just saying that for attention and trying to get a reaction out of people. No, it's factual. It's proven on my channel. You've seen the reports, the 20 to 25 false reports. Months ago, back in 2024, when I was starting off in the early days of covering the case. And then in 2025, towards the start of January, 3 of my videos being taken down falsely and not even having the chance to make an appeal. I got completely screwed over there by YouTube when YouTube lied to my face and said I did nothing wrong. The reports were false. You don't need to do anything. So when any other messages came out later, I just ignored it because YouTube said I did okay. Nothing bad happened. And then what? Then I get punished. And YouTube don't do anything, don't help, don't want to help, don't do anything for me, turn their backs on me. I got completely screwed over there. I got truly silenced because videos that I have covered to do with Jack Newton, Caleb Newton, with balance as well, looking at it from the horse's mouth perspective, those videos got taken down. Why would anyone want those videos taken down? It's weird. Anyway. Beauty says, long weekend of drinking, everyone's tired. Could things have been misunderstood? I know sometimes we can drink, go to sleep and wake up very confused at what really happened. See, when it comes to the drunk factor, how truly drunk were the party goers at the party? Because from the footage, what we saw, such as Sunday night, there was a lot of people stood up talking, quite static, smiling, getting on well, didn't seem that reckless, not that problematic. Fast forward on, though, to maybe 1:05 in the morning, where there's people still stood about, a little bit more tense or playful, being slapped, maybe. Does it seem a drastic change? Maybe not. Let me know your thoughts though. When you look at the party footage and try and interpret the timestamps of when what happened, did they look truly drunk and completely out of it, or did they look merry without being completely out of control? But still, when you might get drunk, you might do and say things and then later you may regret, but you don't truly remember it at the time. Memory loss. But then if you tie it in with a bad event and a traumatic one, trauma can lead to, at times, memory loss. It could also be down to the mindset as well, the self-defense mechanism within the brain, the subconscious mind trying to suppress or repress those thoughts, feelings, experiences and encounters from the past to the back of your unconscious mind. It might still be there, but you got to dig deep to try and find it. And maybe with time it can be lost. So when you add in the factors of alcohol and maybe some memory loss, a traumatic event which can lead to memory loss, and then on top of that the self-defense mechanism within one's brain and mind, that's 3 lots of opportunities in forgetting stuff. So when you apply it to the party goers, I guess it can be a level of understanding. Now, I'd say it's very important when it comes down to first-hand interviews as soon as possible, as fresh as they come. So whilst, yes, we can criticise Kaden Pressy, his Partners in True Crime interview, and how it is inconsistent with his private police-recorded one of 2024, realistically, what we should be asking, but we're probably not going to find out because the other one wasn't leaked or hacked, supposedly, what would the difference be between the, October 2023 interview with Kaden with police and the 2024 one? How drastic would that be? That would be good to know. These interviews that come along the way when people can and when they feel up to it, credit to them. But the longer they leave it, the less fresh it is in their minds and memories, so more mistakes can come out. Not on purpose, but just by mistake. So you look at the different statements and from the horse's mouth, and if you was to compare that to the original early first-hand recorded interviews by them with police, how much does it truly differ? A lot, a great amount, or just a small bit? Maybe we do that as a poll as well. Magic Mike says, why did you say 2 Hey Dude shoes were on Noah's body, Kaden? Now, I don't remember Kaden Pressy stating that, Magic. Was it mentioned on Facebook? Was it a comment or statement by Kaden? Was it mentioned in an interview? See, just recently with the video that I did last night, it was actually from the people.com article where it said, according to Kaden Pressgrove, Noah Presgrove's older brother, he was the one that made a reference to Noah wearing a pair of Hey Dude shoes, but that's incorrect. Unless People article got it wrong, unless Kaden did say it, but he was influenced by Kaden that said it first. Who said it first, though, at the end of the day? And where exactly the source? Annoyed Mama says, to Robbie Brooke, already tried to ask us, believe the Texas boys were nowhere near the party house when this happened. Why are we even talking about the Texas boys again? Wait, hold on. Texas boys were nowhere near the party house, but it was Brooke Bounce Carter that made a reference and some others that the Texas boys still at the party assisted with the girls from the house to help them search for Noah. So Texas boys were present to some extent and capacity. So, well, supposedly, based off the concept of people going out searching. Anyway, Robbie Taylor, Kaden, was it a knockdown, drag-out argument like Justin Roy says, or was it no big deal like you have said in your interviews with Jack and Noah, such as Partners in True Crime? Obviously, this is very important because how Justin Roy has described it is different to how Kaden Pressy has. Justin Roy said the Saturday argument, or the past midnight Saturday argument between Noah and Jack was quite aggressive, involving pushing and shoving, and Kaden Pressy had to physically break up the fight. But when it comes to Kaden Pressy and the Partners in True Crime interview, Kaden in that situation mentioned about it was quite a normal day Saturday. It wasn't that big of a deal. And maybe at another point made a reference to the arguments between Noah and Jack, and we kind of see it here from the horse's mouth, which is helpful. We'll get back to Robbie's question with Kaden's response, but below, Magic Mike says, if you misidentified shoes, is it possible you were wrong about the shorts? How about saying 5 a.m. before as well? See, what Magic Mike is referring to here, if it's true that Kaden mentioned about a pair of Hey Dude shoes on Noah's body, making the mistake there, yes, it can cast doubt in the minds of others, where they may think, well, if you're inconsistent about this particular thing and you make mistakes here, did you make a mistake about this and that and that? And unfortunately, it's a chain reaction and it can unfold everything. So, of course, people can make mistakes, but honestly, if you was to apply that reasoning with Kaden Pressy, well, if you got that wrong about this and that and that and that, what else are you getting mixed up about? You probably could apply that to possibly Jack Newton as well and some other partygoers that have been inconsistent. So if one person gets dragged down, other people can get questioned as well. Mark says, Noah with some badass goes through a side-by-side wreck, has to be washed down and still had more energy to walk home. No wonder the Marines wanted him. Kaden Pressy responding to Robbie's question, asking for a form of validation. So you mean, Robbie, when Jack and Noah was arguing? +1 says, was Noah seen bleeding or hurt in any way at the party? Kaden says, Rob, for Robbie. Brenda, you're welcome. Robbie confirms, yes, Kaden, we're talking about when Jack and Noah were arguing Saturday. Robbie doubles down and says, Justin said it was a very aggressive argument and you had to break it up. We'll get to that in a second. Rebecca says, beauty, I didn't say everyone was bullying, a bunch were, and it's messed up. Okay. On the next one, this is where it's mentioned, in case you're wondering. Kaden Pressy says, Noah and Jack, they were arguing about a girl for a couple of minutes, a particular girl. And we heard a bit more context behind it, I believe, from Kaden Pressy's private interview. But that specific girl was Noah Presgrove's girlfriend that wasn't at the party at the time, but Jack had been flirting with her without Noah knowing. And just recently, what we saw with the text conversation from the past, which has been revealed public between Alicia and Justin, passed on by a person within the light side of the community, let me just add, that either it was Justin or Alicia that made a reference about Jack's response when Noah called Jack out for Jack flirting with Noah's girlfriend, and Jack said, "So what? You've done it with my girlfriend, you've flirted with mine," kind of implying that an eye for an eye. And if that's truly the case, it just goes to show, supposedly, that Warlight Raf had it under control when I did my map analysis theory concept video of an eye for an eye. One thing leading to another, a certain attitude and approach. Could it have been done intentionally or unintentionally? But someone got the wrong idea of it with the shower situation, being unclothed, one of the party girl's girlfriends actually being in the same room and helping Noah to some extent. Makes you think. Magic Mike says to Rebecca, "When your account has so many discrepancies and accuses others of a crime, it's open to be scrutinised." Andrea, "We believe you, Kaden. Stay strong. Justice is coming." Robbie, "Kaden, so you didn't have to break the argument up. You didn't have to break them up." Beauty says to Rebecca, "I was actually replying to Dutton, but I do get people can be a little too much, but not all of us are. I just want to talk about the case and see the full picture. So much missing here." I mean, as a little reference, Beauty, if you need to catch up on older videos, there is that playlist, top right corner of the screen where the eye symbol is, where we look at previous things and archived post. Brooke Carter says, "Well, we know OHP said they're not investigating it as a murder. But didn't OHP also say they're not investigating it as a hit and run either?" And it was also Caleb Newton in his own Facebook statement, that video that I did which was taken down, which was weird, where Caleb said, "I was told by police it's not a hit and run and not a beating murder." So what else could it be? Accident somehow? Vehicle related in other ways? Magic. "But it's okay what has been done to Noah's best friend. Get the F out of here." Noah's best friend being Jack. So Magic is saying, oh, it's okay for Jack Newton to get bullied, questioned and scrutinised, so-and-so, but when it happens to Kaden, no, he's got to be protected. If one's going to be questioned or attacked, then what? The other one should be as well? Or if one isn't going to be attacked, then the other one shouldn't be either, and just listen to. There's some double standards within this case, or community. Robbie says, "Thank you, Kaden, for answering. No problem." No problem. Well, okay, it wasn't exactly answered, was it, from what I can see here? They were arguing about a girl for a couple of minutes. Doesn't sound like a big deal. And Robbie says, "Did you have to break the argument up? Did you have to get involved?" And Kaden does not respond to that particular question, so it's kind of unknown of. So it still comes across as if Justin interpreted it as a very aggressive pushing and shoving physical argument on Saturday. Kaden had to break it up, but when Kaden was there himself, unlike Justin, Kaden didn't have to break the argument up. That's how it comes across here. Now, how would Justin know if he wasn't there? Because I guess his family of family told him that. So why did the family of family who were there misinterpret it and assume that Kaden broke the argument up when Kaden didn't, from what he says, or the lack of what he acknowledges? That's interesting. Robbie Taylor, "One more. Was it normal for Noah to walk off and then come back towards the party? Do you think that's why no one panicked or called 911? Key questions, of course. You see the continuation there. Beauty. Rebecca, you are fine. I get this subject can have everyone on edge. No worries. Well, it just so happens that Warlight Ref is not on edge because I'm not emotionally invested or connected in an unnatural way within this case. So I can look at it from the outside looking in and try and acknowledge as much as possible. Tammy, it was murder. A blind man can see that, my opinion. I do remember there were some people that referenced Stevie Howard as Stevie Wonder Howard. Andrea says, "Kaden, did you see the shower snaps?" Key question that. Did he respond? Skippy, Beauty, it can get wild and crazy like the Wild West in chat. But as you know, Skippy, when you're the coyote tamer, you can set them off the leash, can't you, Skippy? And that'll fix itself. And if that doesn't work, you know, the BBW can be used at any time. The Big Black Whip. Kaden Pressy does respond, and this is where it gets very important in response to one of Robbie's questions. Kaden says, Noah Presgrove has done it at almost every party that I have been at with him. Noah would be gone for around 30 minutes to go cool off and then come back not to ruin anybody's mood. That is really important. Consistent with what Kaden has said in the past about it being normal for Noah to walk off. Consistent and complimenting Jasmine Milan when she mentioned it in November of 2023 in response to her Snapchat post. And I will show you that on screen very shortly because it's interesting. But what's more important here is an actual timestamp time frame is given as in around 30 minutes. Oh, that's like the norm. That's what tends to happen. Around 30 minutes of Noah not being seen. No need to worry or panic. He's done it in the past. He's probably doing it again at this particular party. And then after the 30-minute mark, that's when there's a level of concern. Well, maybe we can add that to the timeline of when searches did take place or when people may have started getting a bit worried. We'll get to that. Brooke Carter says, thanks, Raf. You're welcome. What else? Safia, good video. Thank you. Bye to my friends in the chat. Welcome, Safia. Or should I say, Safia? Or you say, Sofia. Whichever one. Rebecca, Beauty, it's hard for me to see. To see what? And here we are. I'm going to read out what Jasmine Milan had to say here, November the 3rd, 2023, and then compare it to Kaden Pressy. And I want to know your thoughts. Jasmine Milan said, I just want to make something clear. I posted this picture, that original one, what you see there, 341, saying Noah is missing. I posted this picture not knowing that the worst was going to happen, not knowing Noah would never come back. It was normal for Noah to wander off. Nobody thought he wouldn't be back. So don't even think for a second just because I posted that means I know what happened to him. Because I'm just as clueless as everybody else. I'm sick of it. Noah was my friend and I loved him so much. It hurts that people could even think that any of us could have done anything to hurt him. We all loved Noah. We have told the authorities everything that we know. Y'all think y'all have it all figured out. Y'all don't. Someone really is. Whatever. Now, just as a little counterpoint, if everybody loved Noah, including Jack, then why would Jack flirt with Noah's girlfriend behind his back? But then equally, why would Noah Presgrove supposedly flirt with Jack's girlfriends, is what Jack has said at some point, supposedly, from Alicia's point of view, if it's true. Yeah. But anyway, referencing back to the point where Jasmine said it was normal for Noah to wander off and then he would basically come back later. At the time of when we saw this by Jasmine, some of us, and I probably mentioned it as well, was, does this make sense? Is this in reference to at the party at the time, days before, or weeks, months before, other parties in the past? It was normal for Noah to wander off. And if it was it also normal to take a Snapchat post and announce that Noah is missing? That's what I was trying to get at. And other people were saying, well, what Jasmine Milan is saying here is kind of like making up excuses to justify Noah not being present, and that, oh, if he's done it in the past, then, you know, same's happened here, but maybe there's a darker reason behind it. Maybe this is suspicious. Maybe this Snapchat post links to Noah's death at the time, or Jasmine knows what's happening, or she can see in front of her Noah's body, but with the camera point of view, we can't see it. Some of the things that were being said. But honestly, if people still, till this day, believe that when Jasmine Milan says it's normal for Noah to wander off, if people think that's suspicious, what she says, but if people nod their heads when Kaden says, Noah has done it at almost every party, walking away at the ones that I have been at with him. That Noah would be gone for like 30 minutes to go cool off and then later come back to avoid ruining people's moods. So it's happened more than once. It's happened almost every time, at least when Kaden Pressy has been with Noah at a party. And it's just consistent with what Jasmine Milan says here. So if you don't believe in Jasmine Milan, but you believe in Kaden Pressy is basically indirectly acknowledging what Jasmine Milan is saying as well. So both people seem to be somewhat consistent with one another. Finally, individual points made by different people of interest, and it's consistent with one another. It's a miracle. Exactly. But at the time, we only had this perspective. The only other additional point was by Sarah Long, who wasn't even there, that kind of defended Jasmine by saying, oh yeah, Jasmine, and Noah, the night before what happened, he ended up walking away and then he was found later and brought back to the house. I didn't know how truthful that was. But at the time, whilst it's another person backing up Jasmine Milan, it could have been seen as a conflict of interest just because of the close connections and friendships. But for Kaden Pressy, a lone individual that stands out amongst the other partygoers, connections and friendships are broken down from it all, and Kaden standing out with his own timeline and being called wrong or making mistakes by other partygoers, or more so the family members or friends of the partygoers. For an individual lone wolf like Kaden Pressy, who may not be the most popular person in certain people's eyes, still says something consistent with Jasmine Milan that is more acknowledged by the dark side. So you see that crossover of consistency, which is a positive, right? But if it's true that normally it's around 30 minutes, if and only if that applied to that final party Noah attended, no guarantee, but if it did, that 30-minute period, well, what time did Noah walk away? From what Jack said, at some point, 3:30. And then out there somewhere, cooling off for 30 minutes. Well, we round it up, add it up, it's basically 4 a.m. And it just so happens that 4 a.m, that's the reference by Jack Newton when he found out somehow that Noah had passed away at that time and that Noah had walked away at 3:30. So 30 minutes passing by, and then that's when Noah passed away. So after the 30-minute point period of when Noah would be out there, and it's normal from what Kaden has witnessed, after that point, Noah not returning back, there's a bit of questioning. I think that we should go on to Google Earth right now and look at those markers to put it into perspective. Here we are. So it does appear a little bit cluttered, but don't worry, when zooming in, it does spread out just a bit more. And first of all, we might as well acknowledge, reference back to the arguments and tension which Noah may have got involved with at certain points. I know Justin Roy has made his own points about it wouldn't be likely for Noah to walk away with the bedroom debacle. Something like that wouldn't piss him off that much. He would have more resilience because he was able to sleep on the floor the night before, or Saturday or so. Yeah, but there's additional factors as well. The build up to Noah's frustrations with not being able to get back home because people are rejecting him there, then rejecting him with the bed situation. It could get a bit too much. Builds and builds, needs to cool off before he lashes out. And from what we've heard since by Kaden Pressy, normal for Noah to walk away. From what we've heard in the past by Jasmine Milan, normal to walk away. It seems very normal that Noah did walk away. But at what exact time? Well, Jack mentioned 3:30. Could it have happened any earlier? Well, I believe when we looked at Sarah Long's statement or post on Facebook at some point about when people went out searching, that I think it was worded as by Sarah Long, I think partygoers mentioned, or if it had been at the time of when Noah Presgrove hadn't made it back by around 3:30, then that's when people started getting concerned or worried. Not making it back by 3:30 implies that Noah had left earlier, walked away earlier. But then if that's earlier, then it has a knock-on effect to all the other events that happened before that. The bedroom debacle, the shower situation, possible teabagging after the shower, before the shower, the rollover, too close together. I believe Sarah Long got it mixed up at the time because she's basing it off information that she's been given with time, may have forgotten herself, wording and language not quite there, misinterpreting it slightly. So I'm still sticking with Jack Newton's 3:30 timestamp of when Noah walked away. And as for the question mark with that argument there, Is that's because I don't know when the second argument took place as for a time stamp. Kaden Pressy did say Noah Presgrove and Mikey were wrestling Saturday, but that's incorrect because supposedly Mikey only made an appearance on Sunday. So why did Kaden Pressy say that? Maybe it was a mistake. That was mentioned in the private police recorded interview. Next one, 12 p.m. So it's like past midnight of Saturday, basically. Noah Presgrove yells at Jack Newton, flirting with girlfriend, gets aggressive. Kaden's got to break it up from what Justin Roy said, but Kaden never acknowledged doing that. So how's that interpreted? Makes you wonder. But there's tension already, girl trouble as well. Mikey Lair fish hooks Noah because can't find his phone, thinks Noah has something to do with it, but supposedly it's Kaden that is accidentally covering it with his body. Not a big deal, but still a little bit of physicality. And as well, that Noah does bite Mikey's finger in retaliation. 1:05, Monday morning, Kaden Pressy records it. Noah, Brylan sweat. Brylan slaps Noah because Noah was asking for it. He wanted it, if you listen to the audio. Looks a little bit tense in a way. The odd reference in the background about stabbing or a knife in his hand of Brylan, supposedly. What's the next one we have? In between Jack Newton calling out Colton Newton to not come back on Sunday because of talking to Carter in the room. Does Jack get jealous? 2:40 a.m. ? Noah Presgrove insults Avery Combs' bedroom debacle. Why did I say 2:40 a.m.? I think probably 2:40 onwards. 2:40 is supposedly the timestamp of the side-by-side rollover from what Kaden Pressy had said and what he's been shown with a photo. Not everybody believes in it. But the bedroom debacle in itself, and if that's at the time of when Noah called Avery a bitch, could have led to some tension there as well. And then after that, Noah walking away, being rejected from the bed. And then what? 3:30 or just before 3:30, Noah Presgrove and Jack Newton have one last argument, maybe. And then 3:42, Carter Combs and Avery Combs argue on the porch. A range of different arguments taking place, and most of it to do with Noah or the theme of Noah Presgrove amongst other people. But when we refer to 3:30 as the standard time of what we've heard over and over again about Noah walking off, that'll be after the bedroom debacle. But would it be before or after the final argument with Jack Newton? We don't know the time of that one. But after 3:30, once Noah has walked away, which was supposedly east, that way, going towards the highway, whether he made it all the way or not, who knows. Logan, the last person to see Noah walk away from what Jack said. But at one point, it was Jack, the last person to see Noah walk away, how it was interpreted. But then another time it was interpreted that Jasmine Milan had said Avery was the last person to see Noah walk away. Handful of people can't even seem to clear that up, which is unfortunate. But at 3:41, about 11 minutes after Noah walking away, Jasmine Milan does her Snapchat post, supposedly an innocent one, saying, well, Noah is missing. People interpreted it in a suspicious way. Jasmine, 3rd of November, said it wasn't to be taken that deep. We didn't know at the time what was going to happen next, and it was normal for Noah to walk away. Kaden Pressy, just in recent time, has said himself publicly on YouTube, it's normal for Noah to walk away and be gone for 30 minutes. So if the time of 3:30 is when Noah walks away and he's absent for 30 minutes, roughly speaking, that'll bring you to 4 in the morning at the time of when Jack said he found out about Noah passing away at that time. Whether Jack knows firsthand or he was told by it from the police, something would have to know about the time and know either firsthand or through some kind of evidence. And would 4 in the morning be fresh? Upon when called in and upon when authorities get down, not fresh. Was it Tim Daniel or somebody referencing that, when found, the blood was fresh, then the time of death, you could get an idea, a bit more recent, like later on in the day. If the bodily fluids aren't as fresh, it's older, meaning it was earlier on. And the earlier on it is, the closer it is to possible other events. So in between 3:30 and 4 a.m. when Noah could have passed away, 30 minutes spent outside Noah Presgrove, roughly basing it off Kaden Pressy's estimation of what normally Noah would do. And in 30 minutes from getting to Party House down to the highway, let's just say where he was found at, from here, where that blue marker is, to the Party House, it would not take 30 minutes to get from the house to there. It could take maybe 10, 15 minutes. So then what would have happened with the remainder of time if Noah was still alive? How much distance did he cover on foot? See, this is the thing. If Noah Presgrove had his phone with him when he walked away, you might have been able to check his phone data, his step count, where he actually went. That would have really, really helped. And if there had been foul play, and if Noah's phone was wiped, then it would be very telling in its own right, but that didn't happen, so it's unfortunate. But that's a very interesting combination of times what we've got into. Now, if it's 4 a.m. when Noah had passed away, and it's starting to go over that 30-minute period of where people think, well, he should be back by now, because normally he would be. Well, after 4 a.m, 30 minutes later, you have the Snapchat timestamp post of Carter Combs, Logan Jernigan with sad-looking faces, whether that be because of what's going on or completely different, harmless, after a search that had taken place. What we've heard of in recent time, and also mentioned by Brooke Bounds Carter, that at a certain point in time after Noah had walked away, after 3:30, all partygoers that were on site at the property who were still awake, which would not include Kaden, Brylan, Mikey or Isaac, but everybody else, with the exception of Jack possibly, everybody else and Texas boys did go out in some kind of vehicles or side-by-sides, driving about and prioritising, supposedly, heading down the highway to the first sand plant crossing, which is here. Noah's body being further up, but they unaware at the time. Get that bloody marker off. Further down that way. Okay? First sand plant crossing. Once getting here, looking about, unsuccessful, turning about, and I'm guessing maybe heading back to the party house. And upon heading back to the party house, that's what links to, face the correct way first of all, it's what links back to this particular timestamp of 4:30. So hopefully that makes sense there. If it's for 1 hour long, from what Brooke said, from what Sarah Long had estimated, a 1 hour long search, making it roughly back just a bit before 4:30. What's the start point? Take off 30 minutes and then another 30 minutes. It could be like would it be 3:30? I'm shit with time and working it out in my head. If Noah had walked away at 3:30 and partygoers made it back at 4:30 and the search was an hour long, and technically you'd be able to work out the start point of when people did go outside when looking about. Yeah, so just double checking. Don't know why, probably because, well, I'm dumb when it comes to time and telling time, but reality is we do have a major problem here, and I haven't made it clear enough already. Noah walks away at 3:30. 4:30 roughly is the time once, the people have come back, and then a selfie is taken at 4:30. So roughly, and then an hour search taking place before 4:30. But what, after 3:30? Well, for it to all align together, if it was truly a 1 hour search, the search must have taken place at 3:30 in order for them to get back. To get back, because 3:30 when Noah walks away, give or take a few minutes, 30 minutes then starts off spent searching, and then the remainder 30 minutes, it's already 4 then, to get back and whatnot. Yeah, it just seems like the time when Noah walked away from the house is the time when the search started for Noah, in order for that 4:30 a.m. Snapchat post to be correct with the timing. The only suggestion to fit the 1 hour search in and not immediately at 3:30 would mean that maybe the search was only 30 minutes and not 1 hour long. That would make more sense there. And if not that, and it's truly 1 hour long, then it would mean that Noah would have had to have left the party house before 3:30 in order for some time to pass by. Kaden Pressy's, for example, 30-minute time difference of how long Noah is absent for from parties until then later, people could get worried because it's gone past that cut-off point for that 1 hour search to then commence, and then for the 4:30 timestamp to still exist and be true. We do have conflict now, and I want to know your thoughts about it. If you found this video interesting, be sure to hit the like button, and if you want to share it to spread that awareness so more people can see it, feel free to drop comments as said. And if you do want to support this channel without greedy YouTube taking over, the PayPal link will be down below in the pinned comment section. And the only other advantage with the PayPal thing is it's more anonymous, meaning nobody else can see what you want to do. Nobody else, so the general public can see if you want to support someone here or there. I remember in the past in the Dylan Rounds case where people wanted to support a channel, for example, me, but because they had ties and connections with other channels on YouTube, they felt like if they gave a super chat or super sticker, they would be punished by their masters, their leaders, their cult leaders and whatnot. People were in a vulnerable place, so the PayPal helped bridge the gap and made people feel more comfortable as well. And in general, it's more practical, and as well, YouTube don't deserve shit, do they? So with that all being said, I will see you next time. It just goes to show, though, that when looking at comments by people of interest, and even when it's close on YouTube, to those from the party house, for example, how you can turn a few comments into a deeper length video and even apply it to the maps, and even question the search for Noah, the timing of it. Because if Noah Presgrove had walked away from the house at 3:30, the search round about that time would have had to have taken place at the same time in order for that Snapchat post of when people got back from the 1 hour search to be somewhat correct. But why would people go searching for Noah at the same time of when he walks away? There would be no reason or room for concern that he's missing because he's only just walking away. If it's that 30-minute period from what Kaden had said, that's how long he's normally gone for. Well, 3:30, Noah walks away. 30 minutes later, his normal time of when he's out there by himself, that brings it to 4 in the morning. And then 30 minutes later, partygoers return back to the house after doing their search 1 hour long. From 4 to 4:30, a 1 hour search cannot take place. It would have to have taken place 30 minutes before 4 in the morning, which would be 3:30, the same time when Noah walks away, but wouldn't make sense for people to go searching for him when he's just left. There we go. That's a problem. Either the search was only 30 minutes long, or Noah had walked away from the party house earlier before 3:30. That will have its own implications and issues along the way, pushing everything else backwards more. So just leave your comments below. We'll see what happens next. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night for now.